Walker with City TV. Welcome to Inside Santa Barbara, the city's only news magazine show. We bring you up to date on the city's most significant issues, projects, and events. The Santa Barbara community has a deep respect for water, from caring for our creeks and ocean to conserving our drinking supply. In our first story, City TV continues its ongoing series on the water system, from the process to the people who maintain it. Most residents likely know that the Cater water treatment plant plays a critical role in their ability to turn on a faucet or spigot and have clean water come out. But there is a critical link probably left unconsidered. How does that treated water get from Cater to their homes, work, or even a public water fountain?
It's a really complex system. The water is released from Cater. It travels through transmission mains into our looped grid system, which is the neighborhoods and all the streets where it's then delivered to your house. And it also serves fire hydrants and fire protection.
To make a system that can handle that variety of needs is no simple task. The major components of Santa Barbara's distribution system includes reservoirs, pumping stations, pressure-reducing stations, pipelines, valves, fire hydrants, and water meters. To get from the Cater treatment plant to fire hydrants and faucets alike, water travels through two stages. The first stage transports water from the treatment plant to central locations for distribution.
Once it leaves Cater, it is gravity-fed and pumped to the reservoirs and pump stations. I work on the pump station and reservoir side, so what we do is we ensure that we have adequate levels of potable water in the system and our pressures are within normal range.
Santa Barbara's topography makes that distribution process complex due to major changes in elevation in a relatively small area.
Our elevations range from sea level to 1,400 feet, and so you need to reduce the pressure in order to not have any water main breaks. We have 18 different pressure zones that supply a minimum and maximum pressure to the service area.
That's where the city's 12 water pumping stations come into play. They supply water to reservoirs and service areas above the 492-foot elevation. And what's so special about 492 feet? That's the elevation of the Cater water treatment plant. So for any water needs above that elevation, the city uses pump stations to supply water to reservoirs ready to deliver potable water to residents, businesses, and for fire protection. These multifaceted needs are one reason Santa Barbara's water distribution system has the highest complexity rating there is.
We have a very complex water system that includes over 300 miles of pipeline. Our pressure range is between 30 and 300 psi, and we have over 26,000 active connections. Our D5 rating is based on complexity of the system, the 18 different pressure zones, the number of pumps and motors that are above 50 horsepower.
Once the water gets to the necessary point for delivery, storing that water becomes an important part of the city's water distribution infrastructure. To keep things flowing, the city operates 13 reservoirs with a combined storage capacity of 43 million gallons of treated drinking water. But it's not only residents and businesses that depend on the city's municipal water supply. Also included in the storage system is the water used to fight fires.
We have formed a close relationship with the fire department. We work hand in hand to ensure that we have adequate fire flow for fire protection.
Well, we ensure that the water is supplied at adequate fire protection levels and so you have adequate pressure at your house.
Not only does the city maintain service to 2,500 fire hydrants, it also provides fire protection lines to businesses in need of complying with city safety ordinances.
So what we have right here is we're doing a fire line tap. We've got this fire line T assembly and a valve attached to it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take the fire line tapping machine. We're going to attach to this isolation valve here. We're going to tap the water main, drill into it. We're going to extract that piece of pipe along with the tapping machine, shut the valve, at which point this fire line will be ready to go. It'll have to go through a series of tests for pressure, for back tees, which is a state health to ensure cleanliness, and for backflow prevention also. Once it's all done, we'll come back, we'll turn it on, we'll flush the line out, and the building will have fire protection.
Jobs like this, although highly necessary and technical, are everyday work for city water distribution workers.
We planned this week, so this is just a regular day. This is what we do most of the time. And a lot of them are fire hydrants and fire line hot taps. You know, this happens regularly, so it's nothing out of the usual.
Now that we know where the water goes once it leaves Cater, how it gets there, and where it's stored, there's one important step left in the water distribution process: getting it to your home or business.
Where my group takes over is once the water is into the main looped grid, and that's where we make sure the water gets to your house.
To do that, water travels through more than 320 miles of water pipes that lead to over 26,000 water meters.
On most streets, there's water mains which service water to your house. When you turn on your shower in the morning, we're the people who are providing that service to you.
From refilling your pet's water bowl to washing your dishes, watering your plants to running a restaurant, our community needs a safe, dependable water supply. It's a task that is as constant and varied as the needs fulfilled.
We have a tremendous workload, and it's a tremendous responsibility just to keep it all functioning properly, ensuring that the customer gets quality, safe drinking water provided at pressures that will serve for daily use and fire protection.
For the city's water distribution workers, it's more than an 8-to-5 job. It's a lifestyle.
If there is a emergency, we can get called out at any time of the day or night. Doesn't matter if it's a holiday, a weekend, and we respond to take care of the problem.
We're 24 hours a day ready to respond to the needs of the community. I think most of the people in our work group are very passionate about what they do in serving water. You have to be ready to respond if it's 2 in the morning or if it's 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday. So you really embrace the job when you take it on.
To find out more about the variety of ways the city ensures clean water flows out of your tap every day, or on how to conserve this precious commodity, visit santabarbaraca.gov/water. And speaking of water, here's another story on a different type of water that we value in our community: our creeks. Channel 18's Valerie Tysaner explains how new catch basin screens help to keep them clean.
The openings that you see on your curbs on your street go into storm drains, which are attached to the creeks and go out to the ocean. The storm drains flow out to the creeks and ocean completely untreated. So whatever comes off the street and goes into the storm drain ends up in the ocean water and can contaminate that water.
We've removed over 500,000 pounds of trash from the creeks since 2003. So in spite of this, we still have a problem with trash in the creeks and on the beaches. And the best way to supplement that is to prevent the trash from getting into the storm drain system in the first place. Catch basin screens is the best way to do that.
Thanks to the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act, or stimulus bill, 1,200 catch basin screens have been installed throughout the city in the past 2 years.
So we took what was going to be a 20-year program of trying to install these screens over that period as we had the funds available, and we compressed that into an 18-month-long project.
The city of Santa Barbara strives to maintain a small ecological footprint. However, trash can sometimes slip through the cracks, or in many cases, the storm drain system. But thanks to the new catch basin screens, that will no longer be a problem.
They are stainless steel, they're retractable, so they're designed to keep the trash at the curb face, at the gutter, during dry weather and moderate rain events. When it does rain, when the rain becomes heavy, they're designed to retract and open up so there's no risk of flooding. During the dry and the moderate rain events, they keep the trash at the curb so that they may be picked up with the street sweeping. And that's an important thing about these catch basin screens, is that they're effective at keeping the trash out of the storm drain systems, but they don't require any extra maintenance for the city, so they don't have an ongoing cost.
While the storm drain screens will stop most of the large trash from going into the creeks and our beaches, smaller waste can still make its way down.
Most of the pollution we have in the creeks, creek water and beaches in Santa Barbara is coming not from a factory spewing pollution, but from a lot of different sources within our neighborhoods. Fertilizers, pet waste, oil from cars, and other types of urban runoff that's getting into our creek and ocean water. So everybody is part of the problem, but everybody can be part of the solution. So we want people to really try to prevent having those things leave their properties and get into the storm drain system.
But after the trash makes it into the creek system, it is not only unattractive, it's also potentially dangerous to our health.
That trash acts as a vector for bacteria, heavy metals, and other pathogens that can make people sick in the water.
Because storm drain screens are able to keep that potentially dangerous trash out, they are being installed all over the city.
Santa Barbara is covered with a storm drain network to convey all the stormwater out to the ocean, and we are putting them in every catch basin inlet that we can fit them in. They're custom made for each catch basin inlet, so not every inlet can be fitted with a screen. But every one that can be, we're putting one in.
The city also intends to monitor the effectiveness of the screens.
We have taken trash surveys on certain sub-watersheds in the city, and we did those surveys before we installed the screens, and we're doing them for several years after we've installed the screens. And we're going to compare the trash data with the pre and the post installations. Another thing we're doing is we've taken a select number of screens and photographed the inside of them before and after, and we'll do that at the end of each summer to see how much trash has accumulated in each catch basin screen. The idea is trash is not going to accumulate inside the catch basin throughout the summer when the screen is installed.
The Creeks Division is also ensuring that the basin screens make a noticeable difference in the amount of trash in our creeks.
We'll get weights on all the trash that's removed, and we'll compare that to the amount of trash that we removed before these screens were installed. And we expect to see a great reduction in the amount of trash.
But city officials aren't just monitoring the screens. They're also carefully listening and responding to the public response.
And it's been overwhelmingly positive. People get it. People like the idea of catch basin screens. That you look at it and it's like, yeah, I can see that makes sense. Keeping the trash out of the storm drains and keeping it on the streets so the street sweepers can come and get it. There have been a few negative reactions, and most of those have been due to someone concerned about flooding in their neighborhood. And in some cases, we've removed catch basin screens where they may add to an existing flood risk.
While officials foresee the storm drain screens making a beneficial impact on pollution, it's still important for all Santa Barbarans to do their part.
The catch basin screen installations are scheduled to be completed in early spring. Recently, the city held its annual Job Shadow Day with Santa Barbara High School. Many city employees participated and introduced students to the various professions available in Santa Barbara.
In today's economic climate, finding a job can feel near impossible, and that's when you already know your career path. For students entering this competitive workforce, exploring the labor landscape can jumpstart a future career. Santa Barbara High School is helping its students get a clearer picture of the job market. Students participated in a job shadow at organizations around Santa Barbara to learn the day-to-day tasks of a wide range of occupations. City staff were glad to participate in the program.
The goal for the Job Shadow Day with the City of Santa Barbara was for students to get a first-hand look of the different careers that are in the City of Santa Barbara. It's also a good way for the students to form community networking, and most of these students are it's the first time going off to college and the first to graduate from high school, so it's really a good chance for them to feel part of the community and have a professional that works within the city department that can possibly become a mentor for them.
We did a lot of fun stuff because we got to see the shooting range, the forensics part. We got to meet the chief. He's a really nice guy, actually, and we got to do lots of things that actually interested me into getting even more into it. And I kind of want to join the Police Explorers program because it's something I really got interested in now a lot.
Have you seen this cardboard before?
City employees took students like Paula Munoz under their wing and gave hands-on training.
Put your hand up through that. There you go.
I shadowed video photographers and learned how to direct and how to work the camera.
We had a student from Santa Barbara High School named Paula who shadowed me and City TV for a couple hours. She first came down and gave her a tour of the studio and showed her all the equipment we have and told her a little bit about what we do. And then we took her out actually in the field on a video shoot, and she helped out. We actually let her operate the camera for a few shots, and she got to carry around the tripod, because that's sort of entry-level video production, is to learn how to treat the equipment properly and learn what all the equipment does. It seemed like she had a really good time.
I wanted him to just get a good understanding of what we do as a city. Most people who live here don't even understand some of the basics of what we do, where our revenues come from, services we provide. So I wanted him to get an understanding of that.
40 students signed up to participate in this year's Job Shadow Day. City Parks and Recreation organized the event with hopes to engage students in college and career planning.
The purpose of the program is kind of two and threefold. One of the reasons why, obviously, what most people would think is to help someone to see how a field that they may be interested in going into in the future, how that field would work for them, and so they get to mentor and follow along with someone in that field. But one of the great things about the Job Shadow program is that it also helps teens to want to stay in school, because no matter what job field you go in, most jobs require high school education, and so this is another opportunity for teens to see a reason why they would want to stay in school. So it's a great program on several levels.
A Job Shadow program is a good idea because I think students have mostly a theoretical understanding of what each kind of career involves. I remember when I was in high school and I wanted to go into accounting, I had really no sense of what it meant to be an accountant. And I think if I had participated in a program like this, I would have had a more, I guess, a visual and hands-on understanding of what it really involves, what it means. And I think it allows people then to make a better choice about what they want to do and what it takes.
I think at least in the one day that we did it as a city, most of the careers that people shadowed probably require a college degree. So I hope that even becoming a police officer it's helpful if you have higher education beyond high school. So I think it does help to motivate the high school students to pursue college, and if they're interested in that career.
This year's Job Shadow Day gave students a new outlook on their futures and giving back to their community.
Well, I was thinking about being a registered dietitian or majoring something in psychology, but being here and learning about what they had to do and what they had to tell us actually made me consider other options here in Santa Barbara.
Now I feel like I really want to get into it, and I want to try my best to get into either the federal or Santa Barbara police or anything that involves helping out the community for some reason.
I mean, I'd love to volunteer here if I ever had the chance to and the opportunity to. And in the near future, I would love to work here for the city of Santa Barbara, where I was born, and to make something positive with our community.
From the feedback that we've gotten so far from the students, they all thought it was really great. Most of them had great experiences. They were able to go to places that they hadn't been before. Some of them were able to go out to maybe a job site. We were just reconstructing a new bathroom, or some of them were able to appreciate more what it takes to maintain a facility. And of course, some were able to also see what it takes to put together a city budget. So the feedback we received is that they really had a great time.
This is the second year the city has participated in the program. If you're interested in hosting a Job Shadow Day at your workplace, call the Santa Barbara High Career Center at 966-9101, extension 225. In today's world, you can never be too prepared. That's why the city's fire department spent 3 weekends training in case a high-rise emergency happens in Santa Barbara. Channel 18's Jeff Goodman was there for the action.
The Granada Building has been a prominent landmark in Santa Barbara since 1924. Located on State Street between Anacapa and Victoria, the Decorative Theater House also leases commercial, office, and living spaces.
5, engine 1, engine 3, engine 2, truck.
714, respond to a drill, smoke from the 10th floor of the Granada, 1216 state, engine 6.
Well, the high-rise training was a realistic training for firefighters who are looking to gain more knowledge, more aptitude in dealing with fires that are above the ground level.
It's the only true high-rise that we have by definition of high-rise. Poses some potentially interesting and hazardous situations for rescuers. In light of the fact that the Granada's undergone some retrofitting and it's now being used partially for residential occupancies, it was important for our crews to get back into the building to get refamiliarized with the structure, the layout, everything from elevators and stairwells to access points, and just the general overall layout of the building.
The drill is meant to train Santa Barbara firefighters how to handle difficult high-rise fire rescue situations. And the Granada isn't the only building of concern.
Life safety issues are our number one concern. Even more so lately in Santa Barbara, we've seen more and more buildings designed with higher occupancies for residential units, the Chapala corridor, that sort of thing. 3- and 4-story structures with residences living upstairs.
The drill was held early on a Saturday morning and was designed to create a realistic rescue of a trapped individual on the 7th floor.
The drill was designed around a real basic high-rise scenario, which would be smoke in the building, unknown origin type of thing. We get a lot of those involving, in this case, potentially large evacuation. There's 2 stairwells in the structure, so we designed it around a little bit of role-playing that the north stairwell would be occupied with civilians exiting the structure, and we would access the south structure to gain access to the upper floors to fight the fire.
The Santa Barbara Fire Department will hold 3 of these drills in total, allowing each shift to get a chance to participate in the exercise. Each drill will vary somewhat in the situation in order to keep the training spontaneous and fresh.
We try to mix it up a little bit each time, and we haven't tried to overly complicate it because we want to keep it fairly straightforward so it's a good learning environment. We've done it more as an initial attack drill. We've used theatrical smoke so that there's smoke to add a little bit of realism to the search on the upper floors. Limited visibility in that capacity. We might possibly throw in a firefighter down, which is another rescue component, or a civilian trapped scenario where the crews would actually have to come to an upper floor and maybe force open a door or something. We're somewhat limited in the structure, of course, because we don't want to do damage to the building. We're not flowing water inside the structure, which we sometimes do when we train in abandoned buildings. But in this case, we're being very careful that the owners have been accommodating enough, and that those upper floors are actually in escrow now, being sold as residential structures.
We'll go back down to 7, 8, and we'll bring up the floors.
For firefighters, this training is invaluable. Learning the layout of a building, processing the disaster, and assessing the best way to respond will ultimately save lives.
And so it's really important for us to have realistic training so that we can deal with all the different kinds of hazards and risks that we might encounter as firefighters.
Although there is more wildfires in the surrounding Santa Barbara area, tactical firefighting training for high-rise and multi-story buildings is equally important.
So our typical fire is a structure fire, residential type fire. A high-rise situation, a large office building, we don't get those that often. And what we find is we really need to emphasize the organization prior to just running in and doing a fast attack on these things, because it requires a large amount of manpower, large amount of equipment to put these kind of fires out.
After the drill, the fire crews got together to have an after-action review. It's where the firefighters share their experiences and opinions of the exercise.
Give everybody a chance to bring up some points, things that they learned, things that they thought could go differently, maybe go smoother. Some things as innocuous as, hey, let's have some more master keys available. We have what we call a Knox box, which is a locked metal box that allows the owner of a building to put keys in there, so only the fire department has access to that, and those keys will allow us access to the building. We certainly have the tools and the capabilities to break doors and force entry. It's a lot easier and quicker, of course, if we don't have to. A better diagram of the utility shut-off locations and the water shut-off locations. Not a lot of heroic stuff involved there other than just trying to limit damage. We don't like to fight fires in buildings unless we've what we call secured the utilities. Once we've isolated and shut off the utilities, then we can work in a safer environment, knowing that we don't have energized electrical equipment.
The Santa Barbara Fire Department is grateful to the owners and residents of the Granada for allowing them to operate the drill in the building.
It was very successful. I really enjoy that kind of training, and that's what I used to love to do when I was active and on the floor, and talking to the guys that are actually out there doing that, the boots on the ground, as we say. It was excellent training. They wanted to thank the owners of the Granada building and the occupants for allowing us to share their space with them so that we can make that a safer, more effective place for us to operate, and heaven forbid if we ever should.
For information on how you can prepare for an emergency situation, visit the city's homepage and click on the Disaster Preparedness quick link. The Santa Barbara International Film Festival brings more than great movies and glamour to town. It also serves as a boon to the local economy during a slow time in our tourist season. In case you missed any of the action, City TV was there.
I love the film festival. Opening night has such a great buzz to it. You get to see the trailer for the first time, and it's always a lot of fun seeing the people come together in Santa Barbara.
People keep asking me what I'm looking forward to most, and I don't know because I haven't seen what the schedule of films are. So I'm actually just looking forward to being surprised by what films there are. And
I really love, especially the Spanish language films that we get every year. You just can't find them anywhere else, and it's a wonderful time to be able to see some good movies.
This is just unbelievable to be here amongst all these great people. So I think the biggest challenge I had in making this was believing in myself enough to have an experience like this.
Well, I've been coming up here for about 25 years, and I've always enjoyed the festival through its many incarnations. Had great experiences here, memorable, unforgettable evenings with a lot of wonderful people on stage, and met a lot of great folks and seen interesting films. And I love being here at the Arlington. It's such a great theater. I'm always happy to come back.
I don't know if you've been on the streets for the past few days, but it feels like summertime. I mean, the streets are so crowded, and this is usually, right after the holidays. Retail hotels are down. They don't have much business, and look at this. It's just, it's great. It's great for the town to have all this influx of visitors because of the festival.
Filmmaking is an art, a collaboration, a business, and a dream. For many filmmakers, showing their film at the Santa Barbara Film Festival is a dream come true. An important step in getting their film recognized and possibly their talent discovered. Here are some clips selected from films that were shown at this year's festival.
Nosotros como seres humanos tenemos que cuidar al mundo, no el mundo de nosotros, porque a nosotros nos han dado la sabiduría, el entendimiento y todo esto.
The majority of trips that people need to take in their lives, if you're in Guatemala or Ghana or in Boston, are bikeable.
Surfing is just the sun that we orbit around, and it's really the core of our existence.
And the surfboard is our magic connection to waves. This is the story of Hawaiian surf culture, the evolution of the surfboard, and the millions of dedicated surfers who dream of riding waves in all of their fascinating forms.
We turned onto the road and it said no services ahead. We had no idea what we were getting into.
Darwin had a bad reputation for a long time of, you know, hookers and booze and gunfights and miners going berserk, and then problems with law enforcement with a few of the people, and finally Darwin has settled down to a normal everyday town now.
This is the world premiere of my documentary, and I'm very, very excited because it's a very big festival and there's so many people here and all the stars are attending, so it's a big deal for me.
Isabella, my dear, this will not be the same place you read of in books. This is no place for a lady.
Well, take a seat then. Come on.
You have a staring problem or something? Yeah. I can't go to school looking like this. I look like a monster.
Hey, Millie, what's going on?
We've got some serious work to do.
You got it.
I just finished my first short film and I realized I better start writing again if I want to keep making films. And I had just read a book by Mary Carr called Cherry, and it was all about a female adolescent story that really resonated for me because it was a little more raw and gritty. You know, it wasn't like your fluffy adolescent story. And she also had a zit story, and it made me remember my zit story. So, you know, I think it's pretty universal, whether it's a zit or bad hair, you know, sweaty armpits. Everyone's gone through it.
La tortura fue brutal, cortada de cabeza y todo, y al Magdalena.
I mean, there are some people that say they saw one, then a couple of months later they saw another one, then some people say they saw one floating down the river, dead.
Practically bring Colombian government and society to its knees.
We had a siege, I mean, a society that was totally frightened.
In a campaign where we had 6 presidential candidates, he killed 3.
Era un enfrentamiento que al final se trataba realmente de una guerra.
Hubo errores por parte de todo mundo.
Yo de esto ya casi no hablo.
Yo nunca en mi vida me imaginé que iba a ser la hermana de un hombre que iba a tener un zoológico propio en su finca.
To a dangerous and unknown land in a quest for survival. And against all odds, she will rise once more. survives the eternal dance of Africa. The Last Lions.
We made this film purely because we've been working with lions for 28 years, and we've seen that we're losing lions in Africa at an alarming rate. And this one particular lioness, it's her journey, but it's also the journey of all lions.
The film festival brings Hollywood together with the independent film world. In fact, independent films make up the majority of the festival, bringing new artists and ideas to the forefront of the film community.
Well, because they're unique and original, and you know, it's a work of art that just is made out of nothing, and it's totally unique to a small group of individuals.
We tried to get someone interested in our project, and no one was. So for me, I mean, I literally had to come up with the money to make our film on our own. We had to go out and get sponsorships to actually do our trip, to actually have something to do. So independent film is like kind of for me where it's at. I mean, that's where we get to kind of break some barriers and do what we want. But it's a hard thing to do, definitely.
We made a film called With My Own Two Wheels, and it's a film about the bike as a tool for social change around the world. So what we did is it wove together stories from Zambia, Ghana, India, Guatemala, and Santa Barbara about how the bike has impacted people in their day-to-day lives, whether it's providing education or better access to healthcare or breaking down gender barriers.
Whether in an independent film or a major picture, actors must breathe life into their roles. Their creativity comes out in their ability to inhabit their characters in a unique and interesting way.
I'd probably, you know, if you weighed it up, I've probably done more historically based stories than contemporary ones. But essentially, you're always looking to find the center of the character, the heart of the character, you know. As an actor, I like to find the outline of the character, which is probably what attracts me to period films, because the clothes were, you know, if you're playing a pirate with a hat that's like that, with a feather that's like that, and a monkey on your shoulder, it gives you a very powerful sort of basis to find the core of the character. Whereas if you're just in a contemporary suit, I get a bit lost, you know what I mean?
I think the thing is with acting, you have to relate to every single character somehow. And some people, just like when you meet people, some people bring out the best in you and some people bring out different bits of you. So you've got all these different... you've always got so many different... Every one of you, all of you, have got different characters inside you. And you just think like, okay, which one can I play today? Yeah, it's fun. Thank you.
Difficult. I didn't know where I was going. I've done it twice before and this all seemed new. But I had a director who was very, very on it and very helpful. So, and a writer who had a stutter himself, and so he was able to tell me a lot about it.
As each person brings their own experience to a film, the project evolves. Once the wheels are set in motion, each project takes on a life of its own.
I mean, they're absolutely so much fun. I mean, it's a knockout cast. I mean, really is. I mean, we were blessed with acting royalty, really, and to see the ensemble cast be noticed last night with the SAG Award was really reassuring. I mean, they were a really interesting triptych. I mean, there was the two boys and Tom. It was a very sort of Boise sort of environment. They refer to it as the triangle of man love that existed on set. And whenever Helena was working with Warner's at the time with Harry Potter, and we'd just get her on the weekends. But whenever she was around, she sort of like just had this delicious sort of like minxy quality to be able to get in there and stop the sort of the testosterone a little bit. So I mean, it was a dream to work with all of them.
After the Santa Barbara Film Festival, the much-awaited Academy Award ceremony happens. As usual, the festival rolls out the red carpet for many artists who are nominated, and will hopefully take home the coveted prize, an Oscar.
We always get such amazing people who, I mean, the Roger Durling, who's the director, he's almost clairvoyant in that he always knows who the Academy Award nominees are going to be. And so you always see the most important and relevant stars, and it's been no different this year.
The Arlington was the site of many of this year's film festival events, offering attendees the opportunity to get up close and personal with Hollywood's biggest stars. The festival is also a time for Santa Barbara to show off its best features.
It brings the world to us, and vice versa. I think it brings... I'm really proud to be able to tell you, I mean, just dawned on me, what I'm telling you is that it brings the world to Santa Barbara for the 11 days, but at the same time, for the next for the 11 days is bringing Santa Barbara to the world. You know, we've been on the national news for the past few days, you know, with all the stars and everything that's happening here. And that's just amazing. You know, there's a lot about this town that we should be proud of, and we're being celebrated every day.
Santa Barbara isn't just celebrated as the host of the festival, but also as a participant. Several films that had been produced locally were screened.
Well, we cast and shot it locally, so there's over 25 local kids in the film, and I just thought it would be really special if they could be a part of this process, and I just thought what a better place to premiere it than right here in Santa Barbara, you know, so that was the first festival I submitted to.
I would just say the whole trip, getting to meet these 5 characters and sort of get into their lives, and they were very gracious and let us follow them around with cameras, which was incredible. I mean, our character in India is a 14-year-old girl, and I don't know how many 14-year-old girls will let 3 strange college students, bearded men, follow them around with the camera. So just getting to see these characters and see how different their lives are, but then seeing these threads, especially the bike that sort of ties them all together, I think that was the most powerful part of the trip for me.
Most filmmakers agree that in order to make a film, one must believe in his or her ideas, believe in themselves, and not take no for an answer.
To me, storytelling, the art of storytelling is important to me and to my children and to families.
I was originally working as a scientist, collecting information, writing these papers, getting out to a couple of dozen other scientists. But there's nothing like film. You can get out to millions and millions of people via film, and I think that really was our inspiration. We wanted to get it out to as many people as possible.
The better your idea, the greater the resistance, so stay at it.
This is my beautiful, and this is my advice. It's something visual, okay? When they do this, whoa.
Don't burn my
When they do this, you do this. And when they do it again, you do this. Don't let them dim your light. You know what I mean?
Just do it. Get a camera, write a script, and get some actors, put it together. This is how my film came about. I mean, it literally started with a lunch with one of my best friends because I wrote a feature script and halfway through writing it, I realized I wanted to direct. And then she said, "Why don't you do a short?" And I said, "Great idea." And so I went home, wrote a script that weekend, and I produced it in like a month. It was great. So all I can say is just do it. Just don't sit there and just twiddle your thumbs over it. Just go. That's the only way how to make movies is to just do it.
Well, I think if people are interested in directing films, what worked for me was to start writing. I had to write a script and then hang on to that script and insist that you direct it. But everybody really has to find their own path. But the only thing you can really say is stick to your guns, and if you have an idea, really try and force it through.
Well, that does it for this episode of Inside Santa Barbara. If you have any questions or comments about the show, give us a call at City TV at 564-5311. And you can always watch all of our programming online at citytv18.com. I'm your host, Dominique Blocker. Remember to get involved inside Santa Barbara.